going to be making two dishes today. One's a beef rendang and the other is a roti paratha. Now these roti parathas are very, very different to the ones we find in South Africa. They're sold all over mamak food stores in Malaysia and also in Indonesia. So here's how I do it. The first thing you're going to do, 500 grams of flour into a mixing bowl. Butter goes in. And use a dough hook. On a low speed, just whiz that a bit. A tablespoon of condensed milk. Just punch a hole into a tin and let it drizzle out. And dissolve that into some warm water. Add a generous pinch of salt. Stir that through. And add that to the flour. I tried to make this a few years ago without a mixer and I found it incredibly difficult and I didn't get the right results. But thank heavens I'm using a food processor today. When the mixture looks crumbly, you can add a little more water if necessary until the dough starts to come together. The dough's come together quite nicely, it's formed a ball, and I think we're ready for the next step. Okay, so you're going to work this dough. It is quite a stiff dough and quite hard, so you can divide it into balls and then roll them into lengths. You should get about 8 to 9 out of this. It does take a bit of work, but it is definitely worth the effort. So you roll these into lengths and then just coil them up on either side. And looks like a squiggly S. Fold the one on top of the other and press it down. Next, about 100 mils of melted butter. Just pop the dough into the butter. Slightly warm works best, and it just softens up the dough. And leave that on a plate. And then we're going to work on the next one. Rest of the dough already, and here's one I made earlier. Now this dough needs to rest for about 3 hours or longer, preferably overnight, but 3 hours would do quite nicely. And as you can see, it really softens up and gets quite stretchy, so it's quite easy to work with. Not great for rolling though, but you're going to have to manipulate it with your fingers. Now all over Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, they serve these rotis. Sometimes they're called pancakes, and they're filled with bananas, coconut, even an egg for breakfast. So just keep pulling that. Take some butter and smear it over. Warm butter always works best for this. Just seems to soak through the dough. It's a great way to teach your children also to work with dough. And as you can see, the dough just keeps getting thinner and thinner. And if there are a few holes, don't worry about it. Just keep moving around, stretching the dough as much as you can. Try to work in the center as well. That's the thickest part. Now, smear a bit of oil over again, or butter. A pastry brush just seems to use too much butter, so fingertips, again, always works better. Now, we're going to pleat this up. Lift the dough, and then just pleat it as you go along. Like so. It's really quite stretchy, lots of fun. So if you want to get your kids involved, you can start out by making this. Coil it around, like so, just like a granny's bun, and press down. I've rolled up some of these and I'm just about to cook them. But first, we're going to flatten them some more. So again, just on a granite top or any surface that's been properly oiled. And we're just going to make these as as big as we can. You will find that you are going to get a few tears in the dough, but that's absolutely fine, and you're going to have some crispy bits in there as well. That's about perfect. And you work these one at a time. You pop them straight onto a hot skillet. That's ready. Just need more melted butter. Pop this into the pan. Just a little. And the roti paratha goes into the pan. And we're going to fry this until it's golden brown. Just keep moving them around so they don't stick to the pan. So we're getting some lovely golden brown spots and speckles on our dough. And you can see the layers are starting to form, and you'll see you'll get lots of little flaky layers in the dough. I keep saying that these don't have to be picture perfect. What's really important is that they are used to mop up all those lovely sauces in the beef rendang, so a lovely crisp paratha with a thick coconut sauce. This is just about ready. We're going to do this the traditional way. You pop that onto a board, give it a quick bash around just to make sure you get all those layers out. And there you have it, a really flaky roti paratha. Now for the beef rendang, I'm going to get right into it. Normally beef fillet is not used in this rendang dish. It's normally stewing steak, but I prefer the tender beef fillet. So I have a pan heating up here. It's really smoking hot. And next, I'm just going to take the beef fillet and pop that on. Just to get some color on and seal in all those lovely juices. Drizzle a bit of oil over. That's what we're looking for, is a lovely brown caramelized color on it. Season the beef fillet with a bit of salt. I like my meat quite rare, but you can actually make it according to your taste. The beef fillet, the simpler, the better. So to get this right, turn your pan onto the highest heat setting and give it a go. Now that looks just about perfect. Let me just get some foil. And this is also another trick when cooking beef fillet, is to rest the meat. I use ice tongs. I have really small hands, but obviously you can use bigger tongs if you like. Just wrap up the meat and leave it to rest. When I'm going to slice this later, the juices from the meat are not going to ooze out because the fibers have relaxed and reabsorbed all those lovely steaky juices. I love the flavors of a rendang paste. I'm going to make a fresh one now with some lemongrass, garlic, ginger and chilli. So first, just slice up some lemongrass stalks. I'm using about 3 because these are quite skinny. And I'm going to pop this into a blender. Next, some coins of fresh ginger. Fresh always works best. Give it a good rinse so you don't need to take off the skins. Garlic, about 5 cloves. You can discard these little bits of lemongrass. They don't really have much flavor. Chili, just roughly chopped. Try not to work them too much or you could get a nasty burn. Lime leaves. You can use fresh ones if you have, or the dry ones will do nicely. Next, crushed red chili. About 3 teaspoons for a nice spicy curry. And then rendang curry uses a fair bit of turmeric. About a level teaspoon. A bit of water going in. Fresh pastes are always so good. They don't use lots of preservatives and salt. Now, let's just blend this into a smooth paste. little more water for that paste. I'm sure this is done. Just going to pop off the lid. Just be a bit cautious. You don't want to take a deep breath in, get chili down your throat. And that does look perfect. Just going to have a quick look at what's going on with the beef fillet. And that does look perfect. Just going to leave the foil under the beef fillet and slice through. Now it will be quite raw, but we're going to cook it more with the coconut. Let's get going with this beef rendang. Light olive oil going into a pan. Turn up the heat. Some onions as well going in. We're going to saute this lightly. This dish normally takes hours and hours to cook, but this is my speedy version. So saute some onions lightly. Season this with a touch of salt. Remember, we've already seasoned that beef fillet. Next, I'm going to scrape this paste into the pan. Stir this around on a medium heat, taking care not to burn it and ruin all those lovely flavors. Use a paddle spoon. Just scrape away the spices that are sticking to the pan and keep the paste moving around. I wish this was like smell-o-vision, because you would get all these lovely aromas wafting through my home. And now for coconut milk. A tin of really good quality coconut milk going in. Always open the tin upside down. Seems like the metal's thinner at the bottom than on the top. I find these old-fashioned tin openers work quite well. 1 tin of coconut milk going in. Reduce the heat further. Just place these pieces of fillet into that lovely creamy sauce. It almost looks like a saffron sauce. Pale yellow and incredibly fragrant. Let's cover that and give it about 2 minutes. This has already come up to the boil, and that looks amazing. I prefer my meat undercooked to well done, so you can cook it longer if you like. Now, in goes some tamarind paste. I'd say about 2 teaspoons. Give this a stir. Move the pieces of fillet around quite gently. And then some coriander. I'm a bit lazy to use a chopping board today. I think I've done that enough. So I'm going to use the scissors and just snip it into the rendang. Now to place up, I'm going to grab one of my roti parathas, stir the coriander through, scooping more of the sauce, and that looks amazing.
Cookware is giving away this set of pots valued at 4,750 Rand. Entry details on screen. Kenwood is giving away this fabulous K-Mix kitchen machine. Entry details on screen. Coca-Cola is giving away a fantastic hamper, which includes a collection of beautiful Coke branded items for your kitchen. Entry details on screen.